Yeah. It is time. Time to cook. Everybody who's coming in early, I appreciate you, man. This is Divine Sense Boxing back in the building, man. Like I said, you know what time it is. Everybody's been clamoring. Everybody's been chopping it up. Everybody's been cooking on Spence and Crawford, and it is now my turn. I've made a few appearances here and there on some other people's channels, spoke briefly about the fight here and there. And, I got a lot to say and I got a lot to point out. This is a fight of, one of the best fights of the century. Let's keep it real. I'm not saying the biggest fight of the century, but definitely one of them. If we actually are able to witness it and tell our kids and grandkids of this great, spectacle that we can be a part of. You know what I mean? So a lot to be said. And we got to get through the BS. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of BS right now. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of chit chat. There's a table that is set up for a feast, but yet we don't know if everybody's going to come and sit at the table and feast. That's the way I feel right now. So we're definitely going to cook on it and continue to wait for people to slowly filter in here on this Wednesday night for you guys, and of course Thursday morning for me. This is something that I want to try and establish, which will be, you guys see the title of this video called Speak on It. So Speak on It will be intense topics, which I may bring people on the panel here and there, but it's going to be intensity. Speak on It. This is volume 1. This is the beginning. This is the Omega. This is the genesis of this series, which will be every Wednesday night. So book it. Then, of course, when it's necessary, we have the Firestorm, which is every Saturday, usually every Saturday night, if there's not a big fight, obviously. If there's a big fight, then it might be Friday nights. So you can pretty much guarantee now going forward that you're going to get Divine Sense Boxing on Wednesday night and or Friday night or Saturday night, depending on if there's a big fight or not. But it seems like we have a lot of big fights back to back coming up in this month, right? I think like 3 weeks straight. So this upcoming weekend, we have Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Then we have, I believe, Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez. Then I think we got Canelo Alvarez and Bivol, like, 3 weeks, like I said, back to back. So anytime we have a big fight, of course, your boy Devon Sense is going to come on here, commentate the fight live, score the fight live. Might have a panel set up a day before to allow people to drop their predictions and things like that. Want to give a shout out to my man Stacy Rubin, first one in the building. I appreciate you. We got Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz and more also in here. Thanks for dropping by. Yave in the building, Mangas Allen in the building, Vinyls Crew Clips in the building. And it's good to see you guys. Thanks for being one of the first ones to drop in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Let the people know that we are live and we're in here chopping it up. If you guys haven't seen already, we already have a poll. We have a poll up in the chat, so make sure you vote. It's a simple one to kind of kickstart the conversation, which is, will Spence versus Crawford happen? The first one will be yes this year, no, never, or yes, but might take a few years. Make sure you vote in that poll. Let the people know where you stand on your opinion on will this fight happen or not. Now, I don't know if you guys were able to catch BFTB last night, but right towards the end of his stream, I jumped on and I said a few things that I needed to say to get off my chest, which I'm going to reiterate in this live stream as well and dig a little bit deeper because I did want to save some for a later time, obviously. Now, with that being said, I do want to mention a little bit, and I know a lot of you guys probably don't care very much, and it's understandable, but I did want to mention a little bit about Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte, which is happening this weekend. I haven't talked about this fight. Like a lot of channels haven't talked about this fight. It's not only because the fight itself is not intriguing to me when it was first announced. It was never intriguing to me. Never really got excited about it. But the promotional side of things in regards to Top Rank especially has been nothing but shambles. I mean, it's disgraceful how they've promoted this fight. They keep bouncing around YouTube talking about they're going to fill up Wembley Stadium with 95,000 people. Rather that is true or not, I highly doubt it. But the promotional side of things is absolutely a disgrace. I've never seen a heavyweight title bout like this with such poor promotional side of things. And quite frankly, they probably don't know how to sell it, for one. I mean, how do you sell this fight? And they both look disinterested, in my opinion. Now, for the sake of boxing and for the sake of heavyweight boxing fans, I'll probably go live and commentate on the fight live. But as you can tell, I'm not very enthusiastic about it. Beth, sorry, it's good to see you, man. K-Rod was good. But the final press conference, which was, I guess, in this state, was it this morning for the States or this afternoon? I'm not quite sure. But I caught enough of it. I surely didn't watch the whole thing, but I caught enough of it. And it just feels like a big joke. It feels like a big joke to me. Tyson Fury carrying on about, this is my last fight, I'm retiring, this and that, and Dillian Whyte, just acting awkward and strange and smiling, and they're all like having a great time. We used to be best buddies. And, Tyson Fury's out there tickling him during the face-off and shit, and they're all like, he, oh, this is funny, yeah, haha. It's just like, man, I ain't trying to see this shit in heavyweight boxing, bro. I ain't trying to see none of that. But this is the direction that we're going right now in the heavyweight boxing division, bro. This is the direction we're going. Tickling and laughing and joking around, and people having a good time. And I keep telling people, Deontay Wilder's out of the scene, and people are going to start missing him real quick, right? Because you see him at a press conference or a weigh-in or whatever, it's thunder, it's lightning, something's about to pop off. He takes it serious. And, and I read the comments of Lance Mayer. What's good, bro? Yeah, I see the comments of of the posts that they make of the press conference, right? On YouTube, on Instagram, of people saying, oh, yeah, they just respect each other. They're gentlemen and all this. And look, I'm all for the gentleman's side of thing of the sport. There should always be that, right? Men should act like men. They should act like gentlemen. They should respect each other. But this is a fight. Y'all supposed to punch each other's face in. Y'all trying to knock each other out. Like, this isn't a tickling contest. Like, literally, if you guys didn't see it, I'll show you guys just real quickly because I just got to get it out there. And then I will go back into the topic at hand, which I know most of you guys want to talk about, which is obviously Spence and Crawford. But in light of the fact that there actually is a fight coming up this weekend and whatnot, but I mean, this is the face-off between the two. I'll turn that volume on.
Pause the fight. Pause the fight.
Yeah, just not interested. Just not interested personally. And I'm happy to have anybody come in here and tell me that I'm supposed to be excited about this. Tickling, laughing, having a good time, just not interested. So if you didn't see it, you saw it. Not much to say about it. Like I said, I will come on here, probably commentate the live. Don't be surprised if Tyson Fury gets knocked out. Or don't be surprised if it's a complete and utter disgraceful fight, hugging, clinching, bullshitting around for 12 rounds, and then they go ahead and give it to Tyson Fury so he can sail off into the sunset with his belts and retire. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I see it pretty quiet in the chat, so I would assume people don't give a rat's ass about it. Very much so. It is completely understandable. But look, let's get into the topic at hand, man. Let's get into it. What y'all came in here for. I'll keep it short and sweet about the Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte situation. What's up, Don? All right, so you got to see the photo up here on, I guess, shit. Get the mirror on, right? My right side. That's what you guys came in here for. A nice little Photoshop photo that I found online that kind of sparks some interest, and gets this conversation flowing. So look, like I said, if you guys didn't hear me or catch me on BFTB last night talking about this fight, and he was hitting some stuff, and one particular thing that kind of got me to the point where it was like, all right, man, I got to come in there and say my little piece. And I want to reiterate it here for those who didn't hear it, or if you did hear it, like I said, I want to drill it home one more time because there's still a lot of chatter out there. There's still a lot of bullshit talk out there. Instead of boxing fans coming together, meaning like it doesn't matter which side of the fence that you're on, rather you're a Spence fan or a Crawford fan, instead of them coming together and demanding this fight, I see a lot of bullshit. And because of that bullshit, we continue to wait and ponder and wonder and surmise at the idea if this fight's actually going to happen. And a lot of it comes down to the people out there on YouTube bullshitting around, talking some dumb shit. Right? And the first one is this the idea that Ugas wasn't a credible opponent? This idea that the victory that Spence had over Ugas is a victory that lacks luster, that is not something that we should give him accolades for, because supposedly Ugas ain't shit. Supposedly Ugas was a guy that was kind of good, that beat an aging Pacquiao, grabbed the belt, and he was just kind of in the way, and they made the fight to make Spence look good, to help build the fight versus Spence and Crawford. This is what I'm hearing. I can't make this shit up, but this is what I'm hearing on these YouTube streets. And like I was telling it to BFTB yesterday or last night, was that the unfortunate thing, and trust me, it goes deeper, by the way, and I got much more to say, but the most unfortunate thing about that is the people that are out there spreading this bullshit propaganda and blasphemy are people that actually have followings out here, right? It's not just some lame-ass dude on YouTube that's got a couple hundred subscribers. These are people that got thousands of subscribers saying what I just said. Chavo TV was good. So let me say this. I find it funny and ironic that the same people that are being hypocrites, they're literally being hypocrites. I mean, I think that's the best word to use. I can use a lot of other words, but I think the best word is hypocrite. Is that when Pacquiao fought Thurman, y'all were saying that Thurman was going to beat Pacquiao's old ass. Pacquiao's past his prime. Pacquiao's done. Keith Thurman's too young. He's too fast. He's too strong. And he's going to stop Pacquiao late. Or he's going to beat Pacquiao's ass, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then Pacquiao's old ass, quote unquote, which you guys defined him as at that time, went in there and whooped Keith Thurman's ass. I mean, let's keep it real. And then when Pacquiao won the fight, y'all talking about, bam, Pacquiao's back. Look at Pacquiao, looks amazing for his age. Look at what he's able to do at his age. Oh my God, he beat the younger fighter. Oh my God, he beat the slick Keith Thurman. This, that, and whatever. Let's build up Pacquiao. Oh my God, we're reliving the early 2000s of Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao can still fight the best in the division. That's what you guys were saying. Divine Sense wasn't saying that. I said, hey, good victory, Manny Pacquiao. Congratulations. But I sure as hell wasn't saying, oh, he's back and he can fight the best in the division. I sure as hell wasn't saying that. But y'all were. Y'all were. Then, when the fight was supposed to be made, and I'm doing this, I got to roll it back sometimes, man, because that's the thing. Y'all forget. Y'all just keep going forward and act like you say shit that don't matter. You're going to be held accountable for the things that you say. See, I got a memory like a fox. I'm a vigilante running around YouTube taking notes. That's right. I pay attention. I don't care who your favorite fighter is. I don't care if you say that Deontay Wilder is the biggest bum in the sport. That's your opinion. I don't agree with you. You can go on your channel and preach that all day long, even if there's no substance to it. That's your opinion. I may think you're an idiot, but that's cool. I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But what I will make a big deal out of is your inconsistency and your hopscotch and bouncing around to get views and publicity. And then you accuse me. You accuse me, Divine Sense, one of the most authentic dudes out here who's been doing it more than a decade. You accuse me and even utters off the tip of your lips. You utter off my name and you say Divine Sense out here trying to get clicks and this, that, and the third. Yeah. Me? Like when the whole glove situation with Wilder and Fury, when Fury's gloves came out and it looked a little bit suspect and people were talking about it. I actually, when everybody was saying that it was that Tyson Fury was cheating, and they were talking about the horsehair gloves and all this other shit that Tay Jones pointed out, everybody was clamoring. Everybody got their pitchforks and all kinds of crazy shit, right? It was me that came out. It's just the funny thing. I was me that came out and said, yo, everybody calm down. Let me explain the gloves to you. Let me explain to you why it looks like this. But because they see a thumbnail and they see me circle the glove of Tyson Fury and don't listen to the video, and they know I'm a Deontay Wilder fan, they just assume then I'm suggesting that Tyson Fury is trying to cheat. That's right. It's the same people that come out here and talk about Pacquiao is back. He beat Keith Thurman. And he can fight anybody in the division now. Stacy Rubin in that super chat to kick it off, bro. I appreciate you. He said, bro, that narrative trash. Ugas was formidable. It just so happens that Spence is just really that good. That's like me arguing Bud's welterweight record. Exactly. And I'm going to continue to dive deep into this. And those who are able to make this live stream tonight, you're going to be thankful that you're able to come in tonight. And thank you, Stacy, for kicking off the super chats, bro. I appreciate you. Omega Red in the building. Andrew Charles in the building. Deanna Branch in the building. I appreciate you. Brown Unboxing in the building. So let me continue. So these same people, right, they're saying this. Then all of a sudden, when Pacquiao and Spence was about to happen, I want you guys to go, please do me a favor. Go down memory lane. And by the way, make sure you hit that like button. Go down memory lane a little bit. When Pacquiao and Spence was first announced, I know you guys saw the videos. I know you guys saw the comments around YouTube, around Twitter, around Instagram. And I know you saw people saying that Manny Pacquiao was going to beat Earl Spence. Yes or no? Yes or no? As a matter of fact, I made a very specific video on my channel, Keys to Victory, Earl Spence versus Manny Pacquiao. And I broke down more or less what Spence can do to win the fight. And the whole reason why I did that, because there was an overwhelmingly majority of people on YouTube, especially, saying that Pacquiao is actually going to pull the upset. So I said, all right, I got to do what I do. I got to let the people know on a stylistic point of view how Spence is going to win this fight. And I broke it down. And I got hate. Oh, you crazy. It don't matter. Pacquiao's too fast. He's too powerful. XYZ. Didn't care. Left the video up. Because I knew that Spence was going to punish that ass. Then, of course, we had the eye injury. Then the eye injury happened. We're going down memory lane. This is what you got to do. You got to go down memory lane, people. You got to hold people accountable for what they say. The eye injury happened. What happened then? All these Pacquiao fans, all these Pactards, all these people who are not even Pacquiao fans, but they just don't like Spence. We'll call it what it is. They come out saying, oh, Spence is ducking. Spence is scared of Pacquiao. Spence is faking the injury. Remember, they had the whole debate about the eye patch. Right? Oh, it's on the wrong side. Oh, no, it's a mirror image. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. He's ducking. Like, which one is it? Y'all remember that? Spence is ducking Pacquiao now. So then, on late notice, they call Ugas, and Ugas, being the warrior that he is, says, yo, yeah, I got you, man. Shit, I'll step in there. And then when they made that, people are like, oh, man, we didn't want this fight, man. We didn't want no Ugas. We don't want Ugas, man. Pacquiao's going to destroy Ugas now. And then once again, I made another video, and I said, hey, y'all need to keep your eye on fucking Ugas, man. I try to warn people. I tried to. Then, of course, we know the result of that fight. And when Ugas beat Pacquiao, then it's like, oh, well, yeah, he's a legend, and, you know, he's slow now, and he's aged out now, and, you know, and nobody really wanted, this is where it leads into, this is where it goes back into Spence and the hate for Spence, because that's exactly what this is. It's hate for Spence. When Ugas beat Pacquiao, everyone talking about, yeah, okay, but he's old. He's past his prime. But you guys weren't saying that when Pacquiao whooped Thurman's ass like 9 months prior. The same people that said that Spence was ducking Pacquiao because of the eye injury, the same people that were saying that Ugas ain't shit when Spence beat Ugas, these same people are the ones that said Pacquiao's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He is back at 40 years old. He can fight anybody in the division. But as soon as he gets his ass taken to school, because that's what happened, Ugas took Pacquiao's ass to school, beat his ass. That's what he did. Oh, he's old now. He's past his prime now. Okay. That's how it works. That's how boxing works, people. That's how, just like Wilder knocking everybody out. Oh, he's the most devastating puncher in the heavyweight division, possibly of all time. And people didn't want to admit it, but they feared him. They feared Wilder. And as soon as he takes an L, Wilder was a bum. That's how boxing is. Teach was good. Jay Smooth was good. So that's the thing that people have to understand and realize of like I said, going down memory lane and checking the consistency. And the thing is that people are on my live right now, and those who can't make it live will watch this video later. But most of you are subscribed to certain channels for a reason. Even though you may not agree with everything that the channels that you're subscribed to says, but you stay subscribed and you continue to support because they are consistent. I don't know if you guys ever thought about that, but if you take a moment to think about that, you're probably like, yeah, you're right, Divine. There's a couple channels out here that I subscribe and support. I don't always agree with what they say, but I appreciate their consistency because that's what boxing lacks is consistency. But that's what these people are saying now. So Pacquiao he's back. He can fight anybody. He loses to Ugas. He ain't shit. So when you say that, then you water down the victory that Ugas had over Pacquiao. So now that's the next, I guess that's the next topic at hand is that now that Spence beats Ugas, it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter because Ugas ain't that good anyways. He beat the washed up Pacquiao. He beat up a washed up Pacquiao. That belt don't mean shit. Spence just got an easy belt. So I don't know which one it is because I don't think like a hater. So I can't tell you which one it is. I don't know if it's they just are salty because Ugas beat Pacquiao's ass and they don't want to give Ugas that credit and actually admit that Ugas was a formidable opponent, or they just simply hate Spence. Or maybe it's both. Maybe it's both. And by the way, guys, if you guys haven't noticed yet, we have a poll going called Will Spence versus Crawford happen? 81% so far says yes this year. 19% says no, never. Damn. And so far, nobody's voted yes, but might take a few years. Anyways, that poll will continue to go for the time being until I start to slowly, and yes, I will slowly start to shift to the fight itself and breaking it down a little bit and giving my opinion. So that's why I wanted to go on BFTB's channel last night, because I'm getting sick and tired of the inconsistent bullshit And not by trolls, not by dudes that are cruising around YouTube, disliking videos and trying to troll in the comment sections. And I'm not even worried about those people. Those people are peasants. I ain't worried about them. I'm talking about the channels out here that have a following, that continue to spew out this blasphemous bullshit and discrediting fighters when their ass is sitting in a chair in their mom's basement looking overweight, out of shape, crusty, dusty, lame ass dudes. That's who I'm talking about. And somehow they've been able to accumulate followers and subscribers, which is astonishing. That's what I'm sick of. And none of you have the audacity or the courage to actually come on these channels like myself, like BFTB, like Drew Titan, like others out here that are saying, prove it. That's why I created this new series called Speak on It. Speak on It. Volume 1 starts today. Speak on it. Tell me why Spence ain't shit. Tell me why the victory over Ugas is not something that we should give Spence accolades for. Speak on it. Because all I hear most of the time are crickets. But I know you're lurking, and I know you're watching, and you're probably thinking of an idea of how I can attack Divine Sense later. Yeah, what he's saying is right, but fuck that dude. I'm tired of this guy, man. Let me think of a way to, dissect what he's saying, and let me try to make sense of the fact that, Spence ain't shit and Bud Crawford is going to beat his ass. Well, here's the thing. If you think that Bud is going to beat Spence, that is totally acceptable. That is fine. We can have an adult conversation, a boxing conversation on why you think Bud is going to beat Spence. But if you're trying to convince me, which you know won't work, that's why you don't come on the channel. But if you're trying to convince your followers and subscribers that Bud is going to beat Spence because Spence's victory over Ugas ain't shit, and Spence hasn't fought nobody, or something like that, where you know what I'm saying? Like, you twist and turn your narrative, and people are like, yeah, you know what? You right. Yeah, you right, bro. Yeah, Ugas ain't shit, man. He beat a washed up Pacquiao, man. Spence looked good against a very B level, C level fighter. Ugas a C level fighter. Stacy, no doubt, bro. I'm calling him out. I'm calling him out. And when I was over at BFTB, people were basically, pleading with me to, tell me who these dudes are. Tell me who these channels are. Nah, you know what, man? As much as I want to shred these dudes and these guys, and I say guys because it's essentially a panel of dudes. I think they got some females on there too, to be specific, but nonetheless, they've been around for a long time. A couple of them been around almost as long as I've been around. I've been around for a long ass time. But there's a couple individuals within this panel that I just can't tolerate anymore. It's a shame because for me, I'm a very transparent and fluid person. I can go anywhere on YouTube and talk boxing to anybody. And so I bounce around, right? And I listen, because if my main channels aren't live, the main channels that I support are not live, then I cruise around. I bounce around. I see what people are talking about. And if I score the fight with Spence and Ugas to be 10-2, or sorry, whatever it was, I gave Ugas 10. I gave Ugas 2 rounds. Sorry, it didn't go 12. It went 10. So 8-2. then there's only two ways you can cut and slice that. The first way is, well, that's a dominating performance in a unifying title match, by the way. Let me say that again. In a unifying title match between two welterweights, which, quite frankly, is one of the most stacked divisions in boxing. And I had it 8-2 leading up to the stoppage. So it's either a dominating performance or what the naysayers are saying is that Ugas wasn't a credible opponent and Spence was supposed to do that. And we're not going to give him his flowers for that victory, and Bud's going to beat his ass. So Bud's going to beat his ass because Ugas ain't shit. You can't break down to me on how you think Bud is going to beat Spence on a stylistical point of view. So, okay, now we know where we stand. Yeah, Arturo, bro, what's good, man? Yeah. It was good, man. It was good to get out. It was good to see family, friends. Did some camping, did some soul searching, did all that good stuff, man. It was good. And I plan to be back hopefully again in the fall. 88 Sports Talk said the dude came on BFTB's channel today. What? I didn't see that, bro. I'm gonna have to go back. I didn't see that. But yeah, I mean that's part of me wanting to go on BFTB's channel last night and bring this up. Because there's just a lot of BS. I mean, bro, I can really cut deep if I wanted to, man. I can really, really shred. I literally can be the shredder up in this bitch if I wanted to. The stuff that comes out of people's mouths, man. But you see this picture up here in the top corner? That's some legendary shit right there. That's some legendary shit right there. And like I was saying before, some of you guys jumped in here, was that it shouldn't matter which side of the fence you stand on, either Spence or Bud, and who you think may win this fight. We should be coming together as a collective, right? As collective diehard boxing fans and making sure that this fight happens. And that means if you're a Bud fan and you think Bud on that bullshit and not making this fight happen, you need to get on Bud's neck, and vice versa for Spence. If you think Spence is out there capping, you need to get on Spence's neck. But instead, there's this no man's land. That's what it is. There's just no man's land where nobody wants to cross over. That's what no man's land is, right? Nobody wants to cross over. So we're at a stalemate. We're stagnant. And all we got is tweets and videos and talking shit. But where's the contract? Now, I'm about to give my opinion about this. And I want to acknowledge my man Stacy once again. He says 2 very talented welterweights fighting on a high level. I think you're talking about Spence and Ugas. Yes, I agree, 1,000%. And 1,000%. And I want to say this too for the record. I thought going into the fight that it was a very high possibility that Ugas can win 4 to 5 rounds. If it goes 12, that Ugas can win 4 or 5 rounds in this fight. I was confident of that. I even texted Tay Jones about an hour before the fight. And I told Tay, I was like, yo, I don't know, man. I'm a little bit worried about Ugas, bro. Like, he's a little bit deceptive. He's crafty. And Tay was like, yeah, he is, but I think Spence got this. I was a little bit worried, bro. And that's the thing is, like, I'm a Spence fan as well. I'm a Spence fan. I have no problem admitting that. I've been a Spence fan way before when Bud was down there doing stuff in 130, 135. I've been out here supporting Spence for a long-ass time. A lot of you guys don't know that. But I was actually a little bit not concerned, but I was, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, Ugas might do something. He might make this a situation where it's a close scorecard. But he got his orbital bone broken. He got beat down. He went to the hospital. Let me say that again. He went to the hospital. And what do you guys think was going to happen to Pacquiao? We saw what Ugas did to Pacquiao. And y'all were out here talking about Pacquiao was going to beat Spence. Wow. Wow. There's an old saying where the gods bless you in the day and they curse you at night. And that's the shit, man, that literally happened with Pacquiao. It was a blessing in disguise to not get that Earl Spence fight. I'm telling you. Spence put Ugas in the hospital. Busted up. Broken up. Y'all seriously need to wake up. Y'all seriously need to wake up. So, Spence and Crawford, where are we at? Where do we stand? What's the situation at right now? Let's talk about present. I've got most of what I wanted to say off my chest about the past comments and the inconsistency and all that other shit that's been said, well, for several months, but more importantly, recently. But let's look at the present. Where does it stand right now between Crawford and Spence? And what is Divine Sense Boxing's opinion on why hasn't this fight been made? Or why hasn't there been talks of contracts? Why hasn't there, even at this point? And I know the victory over Ugas is still fresh. Takes time. But people, we've been talking about this fight for how long now? It's actually been several years. But in regards to contracts and money split and really starting to get down to the nitty-gritty, this has basically been going on, a 6 months saga. 6 months, right? And I'm being generous. 6 months. So in 6 months, we've been going back and forth. Yes, the Ugas fight is fresh, and I'm not necessarily expecting a contract the day after the Spence Ugas fight. However, it shouldn't be long now. It shouldn't be long now because we've been talking about it. We've been going at each other's throats. We've been asking questions. We've been calling out Bud. We've been calling out Spence. We've been going back and forth. There's really nothing else to say. There really isn't. So, where do we stand? The time, like my man Brown Unboxing just said, the time is right. The time is now. There is no other fight. There is no, oh, well, let's see. There is no, oh, well, we got other fighters in here who we can fight. No, there's no other option. We don't accept anything less. We don't accept any other option. It's undisputed. That's what it is. Hashtag undisputed. Hashtag the best. Hashtag the best 147 pounder in the world. That's what it is. So what's the holdup? Right? We've seen G5. What's up, bro? We've seen the tweets. And by the way, I don't give a shit about none of those damn tweets. Don't mean shit to me. Ryan Garcia been tweeting out for 2 years before he got back in the ring. Tweets don't mean shit. What you say to a man's face, that's some real man shit. We ain't got no time for no damn tweets. A 12-year-old can tweet. I got people tagging me on Twitter, a Twitter that I hardly ever use. I'm trying to build up my IG, though. By the way, follow me on IG. But I don't really use Twitter, but I got one. And I get these damn notifications on my phone of these channels, quote unquote, tagging me, trying to pull me in, trying to start debates and shit. It's like, bro, you make videos all the time, man. I don't go live that much. You go live basically 4 to 5 days a week. So why the hell you ain't calling me out in a video? Why aren't you saying, "Yo, Devon, here's the link. I want to debate you"? No, you want to make a tweet and you want to tag me. Like, I'm probably not going to see it. That's the thing. You make a tweet and there's a 50-50 chance that I may or may not see it. That's some little kid shit, little boy shit. So I don't give a damn about none of those damn tweets. What I do care about, what I do appreciate, and what I wanted did happen. It was a little bit one-sided. And what I'm talking about is Earl Spence. What I wanted was Earl Spence to say after the fight. And I was sitting there. When they went for the post-fight interview, there was only one thing in my mind. Only one. And that was, I want to hear Spence call out Bud Crawford right now. I want to hear Spence say, "I'm coming for all the belts right now." And I was waiting. And it was perfect timing because it was right at the end. Right? It was right at the end. And he said, "I'm coming for those belts. I'm coming for those mother effing belts." Then, not only that, to put a little cherry on top, he says, "Crawford, I'm coming for those mother effing belts, bro." He called a man out by his name. And that's what you got to do. So there's no speculation. And see, when people come out here and talk about Spence is scared, Spence don't want no smoke, Spence don't want to fight, but all this other bullshit, I have to scratch my head and I have to question, how is that even possible when the man literally just beat the dog shit out of Ugas? And who, by the way, got his mouthpiece knocked out and got clipped with the flush right hand without a mouthpiece in his mouth, came back and beat Ugas' ass. But I'll leave that to the side. But how can a man coming off of victory, fresh off of victory, call a man out by his name and say, "I'm coming for all the belts"? How can a man be scared when the whole world is watching? But your man Bud looks suspect. Your man Bud looks suspect to me. And you say, "Well, how's that, Divine?" He replied in a tweet. Man, fuck that tweet. Tweet don't mean shit. I'm talking about, why weren't you at the fight? And I'm tired of people, and I hope there's some Bud fans in here. I really do. And I don't have any problem with Bud as a fighter. I respect the man's skills. I've been up here telling people how much I respect him, becoming undisputed at one point. Now he's moving up, and he brings a lot of talent into boxing. The fact that we get so frustrated about this Bud and Spence fight is because Bud is so talented. Bud is a threat to Spence. But I'm tired of the bullshit, man. I'm really sick of it. Why wasn't Bud at the fight? And before you even attempt to tell me, "Oh, well, come on, Devon, you know this, bro. He was busy." Man, fuck that shit. Busy. How long you know that this fight was about to happen, bro? How long have you known? You've known for more than 2 months. You knew the date. You knew the date. Clear your schedule. Clear your schedule. April 16th. You knew the date. And we saw the video, bro. We saw it. We saw your boy go on the gram or whatever it was and took a video of you reacting in real time, reacting to Spence calling you out after he beat Ugas. We saw you. Your boy took a video of it. It was too late. You took it down. It's too late, bro. We saw you. You weren't busy. You were chilling. You were hoping Spence would lose, bro. Let's keep it real, bud. You were hoping Spence would lose. As a matter of fact, I heard that you had Spence down on the scorecards. You were hoping he would lose. Because you thought, why would I go to the fight if he's going to lose? I don't know if that's what you were thinking, but come on, don't play that bullshit, bro, because we know you've been around a long time, bud. You've been in this game for a long time, bro. You know what time it is. You knew Spence was going to beat that ass. Don't play games. And I want to know why you were not at the fight. Divine, why are you getting so upset about it? This is why. Right here. Because we're sitting in muddy waters. We are damn near knee deep in bullshit in regards to if this fight's going to happen or not. We're still asking questions if this fight is going to happen or not. I got a poll in the chat asking people if the fight is going to happen or not. The reason why I have to ask that question is because we are knee deep in bullshit between these two men. And I'm trying to figure out that who is to blame. Somebody has to be to blame. And I'm tired of people saying, oh, it's promotion. Oh, it's money. Oh, it's management. No. I'm not taking that excuse anymore. I'm done with that. I'm finished with that excuse. I'm sick of it to my bones. I'm sick of it. Somebody's to blame at this point. And I said it weeks before, Bud better show up to the fight. Spence went to Crawford and Porter. So why didn't Crawford show up? And the biggest reason why he should have showed up is this. He knows damn good and well that Spence is going to win the fight, and he knew damn good and well that Spence is going to call his ass out at the post-fight interview in the ring. Not the press conference, but in the ring. Imagine if Crawford is ringside and steps into the ring and goes up to Spence and says, you ain't shit. I'm going to take this belt. I'm going to be undisputed. I'm going to conquer you. I'm going to conquer this weight class. I'm going to go 154. All right, I think I'm back. I'm not sure. But yo, I'm sitting up here pounding on my damn desk, and I think I like knocked out my Ethernet cable or some shit. So I had to plug it back in, and man, they be getting me lit. They be getting me lit. So, lost my train of thought. Let me regather my thoughts. The whole reason why A1 Hoops was good, the whole reason why Bud should have been at the fight is because imagine if he was ringside and he stepped into the ring and he said, Spence, I'm not no Ugas, bro. Nope. I'm the king. I'm coming for the belts. I'm going to conquer 147. Then I'm going to go up and fight 154. You ain't shit. You're just a stepping stone. Imagine if Crawford did that. Then there would be no more speculation on rather this fight would be happening or not. But like I said, we are knee deep in bullshit, standing there in no man's land, wondering, pondering, guessing on whether this fight's going to happen or not. We talk about the money. We talk about how big it is. We talk about its legacy. We look at a picture like this that's up in the upper corner of my live stream, and we look at that picture. It's like, yeah, that's some legacy shit right there. We know the magnitude of it. We understand it. But yet, we really don't know if it's going to happen. And I got to point a finger at someone. At this point, somebody is to blame. I'm tired of people saying, oh, it's promotional shit. Oh, it's money. It's, oh, they're two big mega stars. This stuff takes time. No, we've been talking about these two men fighting for years now, in particular for 6 months of going back and forth, talking about money split, location, this, that, and whatever. I'll make it simple for you. That's right. It's Divine Sense Boxing, a.k.a. the promoter, a.k.a. the matchmaker, a.k.a. Divine Sense Boxing gets shit done. You want to get this fight done? Easy. And I'll explain it. This fight, make this fight in the Barclays in New York. Neutral ground. That way, Bud don't got to feel some kind of way because he got to go to Texas. And they're going to make the fight in Omaha because that's not a big enough venue any damn way. So put it in the Mecca. Put it in New York. In the Barclays Center. 60-40 for Spence. And you say, why? Because Spence, this is a welterweight undisputed title match. Let me say that again. This is a 147 welterweight title match for undisputed. Who's been at the weight class longer? Spence. Who has dominated in the weight class longer? Spence. Who has more belts in the division? Spence. Spence deserves more. Spence sells more. And it should be 60-40. Now, a part of that 60-40, you make a rematch clause. The two teams come together. And in that contract, you say, if you're Bud's team, you say, if I win the fight, I'll accept the 60-40. And if I win the fight, we'll have a rematch. I pick the venue. And we flip that 60-40. I get 60-40 in the rematch. Spence ain't no sucker, right? He'll say, bet. Now, the counter to that offer is simple on Spence's side. Spence says, all right, no problem. But if I win, I'm going to keep that 60-40. And we're making the rematch in Texas, in Dallas. That's it. Fight made. Finito. Finished. Done. That's all you got to do. Divine Sense Boxing, the matchmaker. Divine Sense Boxing, the promoter. Divine Sense Boxing, the man who gets shit done. That's how you get this fight done. That's it. Devin Blocker in the building. What's good? Bob Sanders. What's good? That's it. Just signed the contract. At this point, there's no more, well, we got to talk about it. Nope. There's you. Hey, but you complained about Bob. You literally sat on the stage in front of everybody after you beat Porter, which we all said, hey, great fight. Well, at least I did. Some of y'all got pissed off because, Kenny Porter and all that shit. But I ain't going to get into that right now. I gave Bud credit, okay, personally. Then you sat up on stage with Bob Arum, right? The legendary vampire himself, Bob Arum, sitting right next to you. And you literally said, fuck Bob Arum. I don't need this dude no more. He ain't shit. He ain't give me the fights that I want. I'm going independent. So, oh, damn. Shook up the world, right? Oh, damn. Nobody has said something like that in front of everybody about Bob Arum. Once again, I come out and I say, yo, respect to Bud for standing up. Because if Bob Arum ain't giving the man, maybe Bob Arum is the one holding shit up. I don't know. Hey, respect, because I want fighters to be able to speak out about this type of shit. So, hey, respect. So now, Bob Arum's out of the view now, right? He's irrelevant now. So you can't use that as an excuse. You independent now. You call your own shots now. So what's good? You're not in a losing situation. 60-40 fight. You make it in New York. You make a rematch clause that benefits both of you if you win the fight. 40% out of who knows how much this fight's going to sell. It's going to be an absolute ridiculous amount. The Barclays Center will be absolutely packed to the gills. They might have to set up an outside area with LCD screens and shit so people can get lawn chairs and shit to watch the fight outside the stadium. That's how big this fight's going to be. Everybody's going to make money. 60-40 in the first fight is irrelevant. Everybody's making money. You can double down on that money if you win the fight. Period. Yeah, Stacy. And let the people know. Let the people know. Hey, I was over at Devon Sense Boxing Channel the other day, and this is what he said. This is legitimate right here. This is literally how we make the fight happen. This ain't rocket science, man. This is what I do for a living. This is what I do for a living. Fitness, health, and make money. That's what I do. I know how to make money. Why do you think I travel the world? I'm telling you, that's how the fight can be made. Hey, but they're gonna construct something. They can block off a whole damn street. I never been to New York, but they'll figure some shit out. But it's got to be in New York. The second option would be Vegas, obviously, right? But I feel like you got to take it back to the Mecca of boxing. But you can put it on the table, though. During the negotiations, you can put it on the table. Say first option Barclays because of X, Y, and Z. And if y'all can't agree on that, then the second option will be Vegas, which is pretty much a no-brainer, right? If it's MGM or whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, you got two options that are neutral venues, and the winner of the fight can then go to their hometown and get their bigger split. A fight of this magnitude has to have a rematch clause anyway. You just have to, because more than likely you're going to be it's going to be an epic fight. Right? So that's what it is. And yes, Devin, let the people know. Get the likes all the way up. We should probably have 50 likes by now. I don't know how we don't. Or D-Style. Yeah, Madison Square Garden, Barclays. I don't give a damn, but it should be in New York. That's the Mecca of boxing. Deanna Branch in that super chat said, not holding my breath. Bud doesn't have MTK as an excuse. Fact, this is going to be going on for 4 years. I doubt Bud does it, my honest opinion. So, hey, Deanna says she doesn't think the fight's going to happen. But that's what I've been trying to tell people. The fact that we continue to, let me repeat this for the people that are joining late. The fact that people, including myself, which we all consider ourselves diehard boxing fans, are standing in no man's land, knee deep in bullshit between these two men, wondering and pondering if this fight's ever going to happen. And even though Bud's coming off a victory against Porter, Spence is coming off a victory against Ugas, and we're still up here wondering, scratching our heads and wondering, literally, if the fight's ever going to happen. So at this point, to Deanna saying, it's been 4 years. I mean, these two men have been in discussion of fighting for several years now, but in particular, the past 6 months of negotiations and purse splits and venues and Bud leaving Top Rank and all this other shit. And they couldn't get the fight. So Spence fought Ugas and then Bud fought Porter and all this other shit, right? The past 6 months. At this point, at this stage, if the fight doesn't happen by the end of this year, then somebody has to take the blame. It has nothing to do with purse splits. It has nothing to do with venues. It has nothing to do with Top Rank or Bob Arum or any other promotional company. There's a man that is involved, which there are only 2 men, and somebody's got to be to blame. And for me, it's very, very simple. The fact, and I don't care about the excuses. I really, really don't. Unless Bud had a family member in the hospital or some shit like that, like a real emergency, there is no reason why he should have not showed up to the fight. Because we wouldn't have the conversation of us being in knee-deep bullshit, standing in no man's land between these 2 men, wondering if the fight's going to happen. If Bud showed up to the fight and went ringside and said, Spence, stop talking shit, bro. You know what time it is, man. I'm going to take all those belts. You ain't shit because I'm not Ugas. I'm a different one. I'm built different. And you say that out of your mouth, man to man, face to face, and the whole world sees it, and the whole world knows that Bud Crawford is not on that bullshit. But instead, I'm going to put out a tweet. Hey, keep my belts warm. Man, get the fuck out of here with that shit, bro. I'm sick of this Twitter bullshit. Sick of it. And my question is, what more does Spence have to do? What more? What more does he have to do? Call the man out by his name, right? Every time, I mean, the damn memes that he's making, right? Of the sharks going door by door. And what does Bud do? I saw Bud. Bud got another dude who made an image, or he recreated the image that Spence made of, being a shark going door to door, recreated it to make it look like he killed the shark or some shit like that. Which, you know what I mean? Like that's your counter. That's what we're going to do now. A little Instagram battle of sharing images. Like I said, at this point, somebody's got to be to blame. Mangus Allen says if it's a winter fight, it's got to be in Vegas. That's a fair point. But if you make it in September, maybe not. If you make it in August or September, maybe not. So let me double check the voting in the poll. Will Spence and Crawford happen? 83% says yes this year. 17% says no. So we still have the overwhelmingly majority of the people saying yes, it's going to happen. I appreciate and I respect the optimism. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel better that we got people in here that still thinks the fight's going to happen. And it makes sense because where else are you going to go? Where else are you going to turn? There's nowhere else to go. There's literally no other excuses to be made at this point. It's a matter of when. But mark my words. Mark it on the wall. I'm at the point now with my experience talking about this sport. It would not surprise me as we sit and wait for a contract to be signed, for the fight to be announced of Spence and Crawford for undisputed welterweight champion of the world. As we sit and wait, they're going to throw a blindsided roundhouse kick to our face and say, oh, it's going to be Crawford and Thurman. Because, some unknown reason on why they couldn't agree on a purse split, or Bud will accuse Spence for not being fair about the money split, or, he's trying to force me to fight in Texas, or some bullshit like that. Do not be surprised. I've learned to never be surprised, and I've learned, like Deanna Branch said, I've learned not to hold my breath. If you do, you're going to pass out. You're going to die. Deanna Branch back in that super chat, she says, Bud like the praises of men. Rather than fighting for that glory, he ain't about it. Hasn't been about it. Earl a real one, period. And that's from our very own Deanna Branch right there. You know, and most people that know my channel well enough, most of you guys know my channel well enough that it's not my thing normally to come out here and pull out receipts and get all frustrated and disgruntled about why fights are not happening or this and that. I much prefer to speak about what is, right? A fight being signed, a fight happening, doing the breakdowns, doing the predictions, making panels, people going back and forth on who's going to win the fight. That's what I enjoy. I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy debating on why two grown-ass men, world-class athletes, boxers, can't figure out how to get a damn fight made when it's at this magnitude of a fight for undisputed. And timing is not on either one of these dudes' side, especially for Crawford, because I think he's a little bit older. They don't got time to be bullshitting around. And how have we not learned from Pacquiao Mayweather? When everybody kept complaining about how, it's 5 years too late. That's another thing that I heard on other people's panels. Somehow, some way, almost every single time, Floyd Mayweather is brought up into conversations. Is brought up into other people's bullshit. The fact that Spence and Crawford can't make the fight happen, somehow Floyd gets brought into it. And somehow, a conversation and comparison of resumes between Floyd and Crawford comes into conversation. You love to hate him, but you love to keep the man's name in your mouth. The irony. But the fact of the matter is that as much as we go back and forth and we talk about, and people still like to drill home that point of, Pacquiao Mayweather, 5 years too late. Do we really have to revisit that? Do we really have to? You're talking to Divine Sense Boxing right here. You're talking about a man that was in the heat of battle, right? Fighting in the trenches in 2010, 2011. Talking about that very topic. Do we really need to go and figure out why that fight was 5 years too late? And I'm not saying that it wasn't. I'm saying, do we need to really talk about why it was? And my question is why are we not learning from the past? Why are we not learning as boxing fans and saying, oh shit, like Yeah, Pacquiao Mayweather was 5 years too late. The reason should be irrelevant at this point because they fought how long ago? It doesn't matter. It's gone and past. But we learned from our mistakes. We learned from the past, and we should refuse these two men fighting 5 years too late. And we're not talking about random and blood and urine testing. We're not talking about Olympic testing. We're not talking about needles. We're not talking about the fact that Mayweather didn't want to work with Top Rank or work with, whatever, Bob Arum, whatever it may be. We're not even talking about that now. This is not even a part of this conversation of Spence and Crawford. Literally, there's nothing holding this fight back besides the two men involved. Literally. So with that being said, we've learned from that. Now, it's not normally my thing, like I said, to get as disgruntled as I have in this live and slamming my desk and popping out my damn Ethernet cable and freezing up my own live stream. Not normally something that I do, but I reach a breaking point with the shit that comes out of people's mouths. And I reach a breaking point when it comes to, all right, like I'm a diehard boxing fan, right? I demand, because I put money and time and energy into this sport as a fan. And I demand Spence Crawford for undisputed 147. Yeah, I said it. I demand it. And if the fight isn't happening at this point, I'm not waiting and wondering and waiting for the promotional companies to explain it to me. I don't give a shit what they got to say. I want to hear what the men have to say. And at this point, I've already heard out of his mouth in front of everybody what Spence has to say. But I have yet to hear out of Crawford's mouth on what he has to say about why this fight hasn't been made and if the fight's going to be made. And I haven't heard anything out of him because he refuses to show up to the fight and make us feel comfortable and confident that the fight is going to happen. You're going to sit and watch the fight and go live and laugh at the idea that Spence is calling you out saying, I'm going to take all the belts. What are you going to do about it? And you're going to make a tweet. And I'm not sitting up here. I'm not sitting up here calling Bud a coward. I'm not saying that he's necessarily scared. But what I am saying is the man is overly cautious because he knows what time it is. And he knows that this fight is real. He's going to be fighting a guy who is extremely talented and hungry. And he wants to make sure that if he's going to take this fight, that it's going to be a lucrative deal for him. And if he somehow loses this fight, he can walk away with something at hand. That's right. This is not Sean Porter. And I refuse to believe when Bud fans try to explain to me or tell me that, hey, man, Bud ain't scared of no Spence, bro. Bud going to beat Spence's ass. He's not acting like it. He's not acting like it because, we would already have a contract. It is what it is. And again, I'm not saying that he's a coward. I'm saying that he's overly cautious because there's a big risk. Now, in regards to the fight itself, I'll close it with this. And I'm sure as the weeks and the months go by, as boxing fans, and hey, boxing fans are going to be a little bit distracted in the next 3 weeks because we have 3 fights coming up back to back. Right? We got Fury and Whyte this weekend. Then we have Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez, and then we have Canelo and Bivol back to back. So we're going to be a little bit distracted. And I think there's some other fights happening in June as well, in late May as well. So we got to stay on our P's and Q's, and we got to stay on our toes. But I'm sure as the weeks go by, as we're a little bit distracted, we're still going to talk about this. We're still going to be a hot button topic, and rightfully so. And rightfully so, until the contract is signed and we can put it to rest and let the two men go to their training camps and do the promotion. We can build this fight up. We can drop these panels, and we can get into a real discussion about who wins this fight. As much as I want to explain to you guys and break it down for you about who wins this fight, I'm hesitant. I'm leery. I'm cautious because I take pride in what I do when I get into these topics. And I don't want to be talking about a fight that may never happen. But for the sake of this live stream, I'll talk about it a little bit. I'll give you guys a little bit of a prelude. I'll give you guys a little bit of an introduction. I'll give you guys a teaser on why, or more or less on what I think of the fight. All right. So the current poll, I will end the poll, and it's pretty clear. 84% says that, yes, the fight will happen this year. I appreciate the optimism, and I hope you're right. The 16% that said, no, it's never going to happen, I understand why you chose to vote that option. I totally get it. But I'm going to end that poll, and I'm going to create one more poll just for the sake of this live stream. And if you haven't hit the like button, make sure you do that. We should be at 50 likes by now. I don't know how we're not, because we had more than that in the poll. But I'm going to make one more last poll, and you guys know what it is. It's going to be a simple one. And I'm sure we're going to have these conversations several times. That's if the fight actually is signed, leading up to it, right? Platt Boys, what's good? It's a simple one. It's a simple poll. You guys know what it is. Who wins? Bud Crawford. Let the people know. Let the people know. Hey, Platt Boys, man, we got heated up in here, man. We got heated up in here. You missed a lot of it, bro, but you can play it back. But it's good to see you in here. I see you, Joey. I know you missed me, Joey. How you doing, Joey? I know you missed me, bro. All right. Let's get that poll popping. Let's get the poll popping right now. Let's get that poll popping right now. Who wins? Crawford, Spence. Get it popping. Every single person, TJ Sports Nation Network, what's good, bro? Every single person that's in this live, vote in the poll right now. Who wins the fight? I'm going to let you guys pump up this poll before I give you guys some of my thoughts. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, well, I've heard Divine cook for the past, almost hour and a half about Spence and Crawford and why the fight's not getting made. And I see the frustration in Divine's sense about Bud, doing certain things, especially not showing up to fight to basically secure the fight. You show up to the fight, you speak on it, you secure the fight, and then we wouldn't have this conversation. But you may be thinking that I'm leaning towards Spence. But, hey, you never know. You never know when it comes to Divine Sense Boxing, because when it comes to breaking down fights, that's what I do. It's about the fight. I don't put emotion in it. All right, so get the vote popping. Every single person that's in the chat right now, more than 30 of you, vote in the poll. Who wins? Don't be shy. It don't matter. It don't matter anyway what you vote. There's no wrong answer. It don't matter. Just right off the top. right off the top. Who do you think is going to win this fight? The fight's not made anyway, so who cares? When the fight's made and it's signed and we start chopping it up, then you can take your vote a little bit more serious because, I don't know, you may change your mind. You may change your mind. All right, so far we got Spence at 53%. We got Crawford at 43%. The vote will keep popping as people have the ability to have a moment, because I know some people are on the road, some people on the move, some people at work, so they can't vote in the poll yet. But nonetheless, it'll start moving. And I know what people are doing, too. They're waiting for me to speak on it so then they vote. Y'all waiting for me to speak on it a little bit so y'all can vote. Nah, man. Hey, speak for them heart. All right, so let me see here. We got WJ. He says Bud by stoppage. We got Joey saying Bud. Now, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know about Joey, bro. I don't know if you're trolling sometimes, but fine. What else? We got Don Dada. He says Crawford by TKO. Damn. All right. So what we're gonna do is, and once this fight is signed, right? Once this fight is signed, I would imagine the panels, when we start debating this fight, is going to be lit. It's going to be absolutely lit. And that's another reason why I want to see this fight actually get signed and made, man, because I'm looking forward to reaching out to other channels out here and put on some fire panels to go back and forth on who we think is going to win the fight. And it's going to be happening all across YouTube. That's how big this fight is, man. It's going to be like Fury and Wilder all over again, right? Where, there's fans on both sides. They're both, big supporters of their fighter. There's a lot of emotions involved. There's a lot of history involved, all that shit, right? And I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. But we got Chavo. He says Spence by stoppage. Now, feel free for those people, right? For those people who says that Bud's going to win, let me know in the chat why. For those people that think Spence is going to win, let me know why. But while you guys are chatting, while you guys are typing, Manga says Spence by UD. While you guys are typing your replies and your explanation on why you think Spence or Crawford is going to win, I'll go ahead and give you guys my thoughts. Now, typically when especially a fight of this magnitude, I probably would spend a minimum of 3 to 6 hours of film study. And there's a lot to look at. Because, quite frankly, Spence has never fought anybody like Bud. Like, let's keep it real. He hasn't. But Bud hasn't necessarily fought anybody like Spence either. So you have to look at the possibility of Bud in particular on rather he's going to go southpaw or orthodox, switch it up. What will his vantage point be? Because we know that Spence is he's a full-on southpaw fighter, right? We have to look at the possibilities. And normally when I do these type of breakdowns, right, I always try to put my boxing coach hat on. And I place myself, and I do it separately. I'll dissect Crawford, and then I'll dissect Spence. And what I'm doing is I'm thinking, all right, if I'm in the corner, what kind of game plan will I formulate? This helps me break down film. This helps me break down the possibilities, which then, after comparing the two, I can then make my conclusion on who I think wins the fight. Now, just freestyling this, because I haven't got into that deep dissection yet, because like I said, the fight hasn't been made. And I refuse to put that much energy into it. But if I were to freestyle it, right? When I look at Bud, if I'm in Bud's corner, you have to decide on rather you're going to try to fight from the outside or are you going to fight on the inside? Are you going to be orthodox southpaw? Are you going to dedicate to the body? Are you going to implement the jab? And those are the basics, right? It sounds basic, but it's real. I would suggest for Bud to fight at range. He's got a longer reach. He has a very, he has a very good established jab. And he does have he does have good foot movement. He does know how to move in and out of an attack stance and a defensive stance. He knows how to, use angles. And especially in the beginning part of the fight, I would suggest that Bud fight at distance, right? And do not, and I repeat, do not and cannot waste punches against Errol Spence. The difference between Bud and Ugas will be that Ugas didn't waste punches, but he also stood in front of Errol Spence with a high guard and got beat down. Right? So there's a difference where Bud doesn't have to waste punches, but he can also make Spence miss and make him pay, which Ugas wasn't able to do. Now, if I had to choose, I would say everything boxing was good, DP was good. If I had to choose, I would have Crawford go southpaw because that's going to make it a little bit more awkward for Errol Spence. Errol Spence has fought southpaws before, but it's much more limited in comparison to fighting orthodox fighters. And with saying that, I think that at a southpaw position where both, or not both lead hands because if he's orthodox, in a southpaw position, I think that Bud can out-jab Spence at range. I do. Body and head. And I would fight in that southpaw position to try to make it awkward for Spence to try to figure out his angles and his timing, which will take him time. Because you guys have to understand, Spence doesn't know how Bud's going to come out. When Spence trains for this fight, he's going to have to train for the possibility of an orthodox and southpaw stance. He's got to train both. That's why it's hard to prepare for Bud, because you literally got to get sparring partners that are southpaw and orthodox. But it's harder to find southpaw sparring partners of quality than it is to find orthodox fighters of quality. So not that, he's Errol Spence, he can get almost anybody he wants, but still, there's just less to choose from. So if I'm Bud, I start the fight southpaw, fighting at range, establishing the jab, out-jabbing Errol Spence, body head, and occasionally touching him with the left hand down the pipe, but always coming in and out of range, right? Not trying to exchange, not trying to be in a firefight. Stormy B, man, made it. What's up, man? Good to see you in here. Right? And that's how I see it. And if you were able to establish that, then round 6, 7, 8, you can switch to orthodox and see if you can get looping right hands over the top on Spence. Now, one thing that I have to point out about Spence is that Spence did a very good job of keeping his left hand up and protecting himself when Ugas was trying to throw that right hand. They did their homework. And what they discovered was Ugas did a very good job at landing the right hand against Pacquiao. Even though Pacquiao was trying to use in and out movement, and what Pacquiao lacked was his ability to catch these shots with his left hand, because Pacquiao has a tendency, and Errol Spence's team saw it, And this has nothing to do with age, because Mayweather did the same damn thing. Catching Pacquiao with right hands. Is he has a tendency to drop his left hand. And Ugas capitalized on it. And then Ugas then, tried to do the same thing against Spence, but Spence caught onto it, and Spence was catching those right hands very nicely. That's why I feel like you start the fight. King Corleone was good, man. Anthony Jones was good. That's why I think you start the fight southpaw, work the jab, find your angles, and you force Spence to try and cut off the ring and or find his angles and have to make the adjustments, because you're Bud Crawford, right? You're comfortable fighting in a southpaw position. You're comfortable fighting southpaws and orthodox. It doesn't matter because you're a switch hitter. So you force Earl to figure it out. Now, with all that being said, right, in a perfect world, in my mind, if I'm Team Bud, we start southpaw, we establish the jab, we fight from range, we get left hands down the pipe, we do our body work, we're on our toes, we're moving, because Spence doesn't have incredible footwork. He's good at pivoting, he's good at shifting his hips in, he's good at walking you down, right? He's got good rolls and good slips and good blocks and parries, but he's not elusive. Bud moves very well. So if you're able to do that and get some rounds into the bank, then you can go to orthodox and try to catch Spence off guard and get that looping right hand off. Because, like I said, if you're in a southpaw position, your left hand being up is not being as prominent, because you're not worried about the orthodox right hand coming across. If you switch up later in the fight, Spence would have to rely on his boxing IQ to adjust right away. And if he doesn't, he can get caught dropping that left hand a little bit, because he's been fighting Crawford for 6 rounds in a southpaw position. Now, in a perfect world, that's what Crawford will do. Then you can try to switch to orthodox. Then you can see if you can get something in there to hurt him. And for me personally, of course, like I said, freestyling this, I see Bud winning by decision if he does win. By just boxing, moving, staying in the range, landing power shots here and there, and doing just enough, right? Perfect world. But this is my thing when I think about this fight, right? As much as I see Bud and his talent and his abilities and the things that he can do, I think that the Achilles heel for Bud in this fight will be pride and will be ego, and he will find himself trying to go toe-to-toe and bang it out with Earl Spence, and I think he's going to get caught, and I think he's going to get, if he doesn't get knocked out, he's going to get dropped, he's going to get hurt. And that little game plan, that whatever it was that he tried to establish, is going to be thrown out the window, because if you get hurt against Earl Spence, you go into survival mode. Just like Ugas did. Just like many before Ugas did when they fight against Earl Spence. Right? So, Anthony Jones, I hear you. But the fact of the matter is he has that ability. Against Porter, he didn't necessarily have to box. He wasn't worried about Porter's power. He was worried about Porter's output and his endurance and his engine, right? So he knew he can exchange a little bit. I punch harder. I got a longer reach. I can sneak something in, especially the uppercuts, which he was able to get on Porter, and he knew he had the upper hand. But with Spence, you don't necessarily have the upper hand fighting that type of fight. But it doesn't matter, because Bud has the ability to box anyways if he wants to or if he needs to. My problem is pride. and ego, heat of the moment, want to prove something, want to knock out Spence, want to get into a position where you're toe-to-toe and exchange. Right? And that's where I feel where Bud will bite off more than he can chew. And Spence is absolutely, and in my opinion, the best body puncher in the division, with Ennis being a close second, but Ennis still has a little bit to do to prove himself. But right now, Spence is the most vicious and ruthless body puncher in the division. And another thing to tell you as well is Bud, if you go back and you watch his past fights, especially when he's in firefights, Bud does punch with his chin up in the air. And he throws these big-ass bombs, these big-ass haymakers, really opens up wide. He's gotten away with it because, number one, he does have a hell of a chin. He has been able to take a big shot to give a bigger shot to hurt his opponents. But you're moving up. You're at 147 now. You're fighting against a bona fide welterweight, a dude has been at the weight class for how long now? Who has been in there against some of the best fighters in the division. It's a different animal now. You're actually fighting a guy who has durability, who also has a chin, and can be vicious to the body. So you have to understand that Bud fight, when he gets into that mode, that he gets that gleam in his eye, which we love as boxing fans. We love that gleam in the eye when a boxer's like, I'm putting my foot on the gas and I'm gonna stop you, right? But against Spence, when he's got that shoulder roll, southpaw defense position, where he gets these uppercuts coming up from underneath. And what was one punch that Spence was able to land against Ugas? The left uppercut. Which is another reason why I feel that Bud should be in southpaw position, because it's a little bit more hard. It's a bit harder to land that left uppercut. But in an orthodox position, it is not. Because the right shoulder is open in an orthodox position. It's easier to step in and get that left uppercut in there, which is your power hand anyways. Dwayne Freeman in the building. What's good? So that's your freestyle from Divine Sense Boxing right there. Compelling fight. I have it. I mean, it's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. It really is. And if once I make my official prediction of the fight and my official breakdown of the fight, where I can actually, and my opinion might change, by the way. My opinion might change when I start to do film studies and I really start to dissect, because I've been watching a little bit more of Errol Spence lately, because obviously leading up to the Ugas fight, right? It's been a little while since I've really dissected Bud. But there's a possibility that once I do that and I put the hours in, that I might change my mind on a few things. But I feel like it's a 50-50 fight as far as the public viewpoint of it. But right now I'm leaning like 55-45, 55 for Spence. But like I said, I'm not going to put in that type of work and that type of effort and breaking down this fight and doing these types of film studies to see if I can change my opinion at all until the fight's actually signed. I don't have a problem freestyling it. It's like you could go to a rap battle and freestyle a motherfucker, but when you gotta actually write an album, you gotta put hours into that shit. You understand what I'm saying? And that's where I'm at. Stacy, but yeah, he absolutely do. He absolutely does have a vicious right uppercut. They both have vicious uppercuts. But Bud fights more square up. Bud fights with open shoulders, right? He fires from the hips, and he's a bit more open, and he can do it because he's got such a long reach, right? And he's accurate. He's very good with his accuracy, probably one of the best. And that will be a significant part of the fight, where he's going to be able to connect better than what Ugas was able to connect, right? But he does fight more open. Spence, Black Superman, was good. Spence fights in that southpaw kind of Philly shell where he steps to you, right? And he blocks here, he rolls here, and every once in a while he'll roll under shots, right? And when he rolls, he comes underneath, boom, going to the body, right? And another thing that Spence does really well is if he finds the timing, he does that lean back, right? Steps over to the side, boom, right? Spence is more compact, and he offers a smaller target. Bud is a bit more square up. He sets his feet, and he throws his hips into big shots. So we got two different styles here. And although, yes, they both have weapons in their arsenal, they both can throw nasty uppercuts, they can do nasty hooks, they can mix it up on the inside. But I'm a bit hard-pressed if someone tries to convince me that Bud can fight better on the inside against Spence. There has been nobody up until this point in Spence's career who's been able to fight Spence better on the inside. Nobody. Nobody's been able to do it. There's been fighters that have shown moments where they can box on the outside, jab and move, throw combinations, and forces Spence in a little kind of situation where he's got to catch and maybe he can only get one shot off. Yeah. But eventually, Spence is the type of guy. He did it in Ugas. Go back and watch round one. Ugas Spence. Go back and watch round one. I gave Ugas round one. Personally, I gave Ugas round one in that fight. Spence came out, shoulder roll, right? High, a little bit of high shoulder, catching shots, occasionally jab to the body. He tried to time his left hand to see, find his range. But Ugas did more. Ugas was jabbing up and down, and doing his thing. And so Spence is a slow starter sometimes. He is. I think he started slow against Porter as well. We got to take that into mind, right? We got to take that into mind or into consideration. Bud is more unpredictable in my opinion. Bud is extremely unpredictable as a fighter. It's hard to prepare for Bud. Not only because you don't know what to train southpaw or orthodox, but also the fact Bud has shown to come out slow, but Bud has come out round one trying to knock dudes out. So you don't know what kind of Bud you're going to get. Now, for me, it's like this. It could be. I don't know if Stormy's in here, and I don't know if Stormy feels like there's a possibility that this may happen, but this could be a very similar fight as to what it was against Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler. Right? When Tommy Hearns exploded out of the gate and just throwing these nasty, they have one of the best first rounds of all time where Tommy just jumped all over Marvin, right? And Marvin's like rolling with punches and trying to get his shots into the body. And Tommy is just fighting at range because, Tommy in a way is he's kind of similar built to Bud, right? Kind of long and strong. And they both got pop, you know what I mean? And Tommy's just firing, bam, from range, throwing in these nasty combinations. And it was one of the craziest first rounds of all time. Until eventually, Marvin was just too much. And who's the naturally bigger fighter in that fight? Marvin is. Who is the naturally bigger fighter in this fight with Spence and Bud? Spence is. So you got to think of that too. But we don't know. But we don't know exactly how the fight's going to happen. But if I had to guess, if somebody said, "Oh, you got to put money on it," I would say Spence will come out slower. Spence will come out slower, more respectful, more cautious, try to find his range, let Bud get off some shots. And I think he wants to feel Bud's power. He wants to catch it. He wants to see how Bud is using his angles. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Bud wins the first 4 rounds. Clearly, just off of movement, fighting at range, throwing more punches, more active, and Spence is trying to catch, go to the body, and just being a bit more cautious and respectful and trying to find his range. I wouldn't be surprised. But at some point, Spence is going to find it. He's going to find that range. And he's going to figure out what is Bud's best punch and what punch can I take to give a better punch. He's going to figure it out. Then it'll be a question of what Bud's going to do to make an adjustment. But I do agree, Bud is, way more unpredictable in regards to what stance he's going to fight in. Is he going to come out fast? Is he going to come out slow? Is he going to fight on the inside? Is he going to fight on the outside? And all these other variables, because he's done it different ways, many different types. He's done it many different ways in many different fights. Earl, though, has been pretty consistent on how he fights. And although it looks easy on the outside, when you get in the ring with Earl, it's a different story. And it's, you know what it is mostly? It's his ability to hurt you. See, that's the thing that you can't predict. You can't prepare for that. You can study film. You can look at his movement. You can say, "Oh, we can do this. We can do that to bring the fight in our favor. We can win rounds by doing this, this, and that." But what you can't prepare for, and what fighters are experiencing when they step into the ring with Spence, is his ability to hurt you. And you can go to Ugas, to Danny Garcia, to Sean Porter, to whoever it is. He's hurt everyone. He has hurt every fighter that he has faced. He hasn't knocked them all out, but I guarantee you he has hurt every single one of them. And when you hurt your opponent, it's hard to implement that game plan that you thought that you were going to be able to implement during the fight. Because Earl is hurting you either to the body or to the head, which prevents you to perform that game plan, which forces you to change in half stride your strategy. So the question is, will Crawford be able to do that? Pop-Off 93 Boxing Sports, what's good? I saw somebody in here say a draw. It better not be a damn draw. It better not be a damn draw. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt in this fight. That I promise you. I don't know who exactly yet. I got to do more film study and look at more possibilities. But somebody's getting hurt in this fight. It could go 12, but somebody's getting hurt. Somebody's getting hurt. I feel it in my bones. But my thing is this, man, is I feel like I'm starting to put too much energy into something that hasn't been made yet. I can't help it, man. I love boxing, bro. I can't help it. It's in my blood. Duke Todd, bro. Hey, what's up, man? It's been a minute, bro. What's good? I can't help myself, man. I love boxing, and this is how boxing continues to, quite frankly, like F you over, right? F you over, man. So revisiting the poll to see where it's at, because I've been cooking here for a while, haven't peeped it. Who wins? We got Spence at 67%. 33% says Crawford. So it looks pretty split down the middle. And look, guys, a lot of you guys have been coming in and out. I appreciate you. Some of you guys caught the stream a little bit late. I appreciate you taking the time. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's go ahead and try to end this stream with 50 likes. I appreciate you. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get that. And anyways, if you joined a little bit later, there was just some things that I had to get off my chest in regards to the hate towards Errol Spence. And I mentioned it at the beginning part of this live stream. And quite frankly, I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of people discrediting the victory over Ugas, trying to act like Ugas ain't shit. The victory that he had over Pacquiao wasn't shit. And then to pretend that it was okay, or bringing up excuses on why Crawford didn't show up to the fight. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see any excuses. If you come in here talking about, oh, Crawford didn't need to show up to the fight, I passionately disagree with you. Passionately and ardently disagree with you that he didn't have to show up to the fight. Well, I guess you don't have to do nothing but live and die if you want to get technical about it. But as a fighter, when you know that the world is clamoring for this fight, we need confidence. There's been a lot of shenanigans and a lot of BS behind the scenes between you two men on whether this fight's going to happen or not. And this the one thing that you could have done. Just the one little thing that you could have done. You knew it was April 16th. You knew the venue. You knew the date. You knew the time. You could have showed up and cleared it all. Cleared all speculation. Because, Bud, with all due respect, sir, there's a lot of speculation hovering over your name. And you had an opportunity to clear that. And Twitter's not enough. Twitter is not enough. Because, well, obviously, the confidence is not there. Because guess what? We're still here making videos, going into live chats, wondering if the fight's going to happen. When you, the one and only person who could have answered that question, didn't show up to the fight. How many times in boxing history have we seen big fights that need to happen, that haven't quite happened yet, where fighters show up to fights, and if you don't want to walk into the middle of the ring and call the dude out in front of everybody, that's fine. I would prefer that, just as a fan, makes it more entertaining. But at the very least, you should be there giving post-fight interviews to the media, saying in person that, yes, I want the fight. Yes, it's going to happen. Yes, Spence ain't shit. I'm going to beat Spence's ass. He thinks he's this. He thinks he's that, but he ain't nothing. I'm taking all the belts. I'm going to be undisputed at 147. And Bud Crawford has the ability to make history and be an undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. What will the history books say about Bud Crawford if this fight doesn't happen with Errol Spence, and he fights Keith Thurman, or he fights Danny Garcia, and he never fights Spence, And even if Spence goes on and who fucking knows, Spence goes on and fights Boots Ennis and Ennis like takes all the damn belts. Who knows? It doesn't. And then Bud fights Ennis and then he gets all the belts and he eventually becomes undisputed anyways. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you never fought Spence. So it doesn't matter how you cut it or slice it. If you don't fight Spence when he's got the belts right now, it is a loss. It is an L on your legacy. Not even for Bud, but for boxing. You have the opportunity to become undisputed in 2 weight classes and not only become undisputed, but beat a guy in Errol Spence who most people, boxing fans, boxing writers, journalists, media thinks that Errol Spence is the best welterweight in the world right now. Not Bud Crawford, but Errol Spence. How could you miss on this opportunity? You should be on Errol Spence's doorstep knocking on the door with a contract, my bro. You should be knocking on the damn door. You should be at his gym knocking on the door with a contract. Because you, sir, have an opportunity to make history. Not make tweets. Not, oh, I'm busy training other fighters. Or I'm busy playing ping pong with Shakur Stevenson. We don't care about none of that. We don't care about none of that. Make a video of you going to Errol Spence's gym with the contract in your hand. Yeah, do that. And then, hey, if Spence says, hey, I need to talk to my team first, then then we know what time it is. Then we know that Spence is capped. But right now, it is what it is. Spence called you out by name. He called you out by name in front of the world. And I don't think anybody can convince me otherwise. So I know that, so every time I get passionate like this, it gets all quiet and shit. But I want you, if you're a Bud fan, I want you to support him. I want you to defend him. I want you to cheer for him come fight night against Spence. I want you to prove the Spence fans wrong. I want you to come on here and say, Devon, I try to tell these motherfuckers out here that Spence ain't shit and Bud is the man. I want to see it. I want to witness it. I really, really do. It's a win for boxing regardless. Regardless of who wins this fight is a win for boxing. When Tommy Hearns fought Marvin Hagler, it was a win for boxing. Picasso, exactly. I painted a pretty picture, the most beautiful, prettiest picture that you can possibly imagine on how this fight can happen and why it should happen and why it's not happening. How to make it happen, why it should happen, and why it's not happening. I've created a beautiful abstract Picasso masterpiece for you guys tonight. If you were able to catch it live, then you're blessed tonight. You're blessed. And for the people that came in here late, that didn't catch that abstract image that I created for everybody in the chat tonight, I'll recap it one more time. First thing first, all BS aside, all this, oh, who gets the purse split? Look, none of that matters anymore. Because I'm going to tell you right now, here and now, and those of you who've been here already heard it, but I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back and the people that came in here late. The way you make this fight is make the fight in New York. Could be at the MSG. It could be at the Barclays. It don't matter. That's option one. If option one don't work for whatever various reasons, because you can't make the fight until the late fall, early winter, you want to take it to Vegas, take it to Vegas. But New York should be the first on the list, and it should be try to be made for late August, early September to try and try to get that kind of like early fall before it gets too cold. So that's the venue settled. And if you ask me why, well, it's simple. You can't do it in Texas because Bud is not going to go to Texas, and you can't make it in Omaha because it's just not enough. It's not enough of an attraction location, right? So it's New York. It's the Mecca of boxing as option number one. Then when it comes to purse splits, it's simple. 60-40 for Spence. Oh, but why did Spence get 60? I'll break it down for you. It's simple. They're fighting for the undisputed championship of the world at what weight class? Welterweight. Who has been at the weight class longer? Spence. Who has fought more welterweights and has been dominating the weight class longer? Spence. Who has more belts in the division? Spence. Who is a bigger draw? Spence. Money-wise. Who gets the bigger split in the first fight? Spence. Now, if you're Bud Crawford and your team, and that rubs you the wrong way, there is a way to counter that. This is a big fight. There's no reason why you can't have a rematch clause in this fight because there is a possibility of it going 12, being a close fight and or being a draw. Or Bud can be winning the whole damn fight and get knocked out late. Whatever the case may be, you counter with the rematch saying that if I win the fight, and by the way, if you think that if anybody's out there saying, oh, you can't put that in contract, Divine, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can put anything you want in a contract. Contract's a contract. You move into a new condo, the landlord can make you pay 6-month deposit up front, 3-month deposit up front, 1-month deposit up front, furnished, unfurnished, whatever the case may be. Contract is a contract. You can put whatever you want in there. It just depends if you sign it or not. So in the contract, you make a rematch clause, and you say, if I win, then we're going to a venue of my choice, and then that split is flipped, and I get 60-40. And vice versa for Earl. If Earl wins, he can easily say, I'm going to keep that 60-40, and we're going to fight in Texas in the rematch in Dallas, my hometown. Both fighters are confident. So it shouldn't matter. 60-40 in the first fight, everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. The whole damn city of New York is getting paid. And that's how you do it. And if you're confident that you're going to win, you can flip that split to your own benefit and choose the venue of your choosing because you have earned that right because you won the first fight. And guess what? The boxing fans are blessed not once, but twice. So that's it. That is the masterpiece that I painted for you guys, man. It's not difficult. It is really not that difficult. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, George, I hear you, bro. Like, look, there's pros and cons to New York, right? Obviously, it's weather, it's taxes, it's whatever, all that stuff, but it is the mecca of boxing. And you're going to pack it out. You're going to get the sales tickets, you're going to get the pay-per-view numbers. There's pros and cons, right? Vegas is a second option, but to be honest with you, I don't give a rat's ass if they fight in Antarctica in a damn ice dome, to be honest with you, as long as they make the fight happen. I'm just telling you that they're not going to make the fight in Texas. It's not going to happen. Bud is not going to agree to fight in Texas. Period. He's not. He's just not. So I'm saying the mecca of boxing in New York, Vegas a second option because Vegas is always a no-brainer, good weather all year round, so that doesn't matter. Easy to promote, easy to build. And then there's all different types of other options. You got LA, you've got Atlanta, you got Miami, you got like whatever, right? And America's massive. But one thing we do know is that Bud is not going to agree to fight in Dallas in the first fight. It's just not going to happen. I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if Bud agrees to that. So yeah. What's up, Bev? Are you asking me? If you're asking me if he takes the fight, what am I going to say? I'm going to say congratulations. That's what I'm going to say. Congratulations to boxing fans. And I'm going to say that Bud has a strange way of hyping up fights. But thank you, Bud. That's what I'll say. I'll say thank you. I'll tell Bud I appreciate it. I appreciate you making the fight. I appreciate you stepping up to the plate. But if anybody's expecting me to come out here and say sorry, what am I saying sorry for? I never called Bud a Crawford. I never called Bud a coward. I never said that Bud is ducking. There's other channels out there saying that. I never said that. But what I have said is that he is doing a poor job to give us boxing fans the confidence that the fight is going to happen. Because Errol Spence has done his part. Period. It's not about being a coward. It's not about ducking. There's other channels that go to that extent. But for me, I feel like he is extremely cautious on how he navigates to make this fight happen. And because of that caution, we as boxing fans are stuck in no man's land, wondering, and it all goes to Bud. That is simple as that. Now, if Bud comes out in the next couple of weeks and they sign the contract, I'm going to say congratulations, and I'm going to say I appreciate it, and I knew you always wanted to fight, Bud, because I never said that he didn't want the fight. I'm saying he's slow rolling. He's slow playing us. And it's unnecessary to do that because you're supposed to be confident. Cursor in the building, becoming a member. I think you were a member before. Maybe you're renewing, but nonetheless, bro, I appreciate you. And on that note, if anybody else is interested to become an official member of the channel, there is the link. You can click on that small donation and get access to exclusive videos and, emojis and all kinds of stuff. And by the way, there is a custom emoji of Errol Spence that you can put in the chat, by the way. And I need to make one of Bud too for all the Bud fans. You got to make it fair. Plaid Boy says that Spence and Ugas did a 500 pay-per-view buys. This fight will hit 1 million. Oh, 1 million, bro. No problem. No problem. No problem. It will break. It has the potential to break records because this is a worldwide event. Worldwide. This isn't like Charlo and Castano fighting. No disrespect to them, but mostly Americans are going to watch that fight. This is for undisputed. The world knows about Spence. The world knows about Bud. This is a worldwide event. This will probably smash pay-per-view numbers. It may not do like De La Hoya Mayweather numbers, but it's going to do very, very, very well. And that's why I said that 60-40 don't mean shit. Everybody's getting paid. George, exactly. Absolutely, you have to. Absolutely, you have to. And if you're the guy that got the big screen TV at home, and maybe your people ain't got the $75 to pay for it, well, you better host a live fight party and invite your family and your friends over, and you can do potluck. If they ain't got no $75 and they got $10 to bring some damn snacks over, or whatever the case is, man. But this is a big event. This is family, friends. This is like everybody's pitching in something. Everybody. Big Dog, what's good? Coming in here a little bit late, bro, but it's good to see you. You're gonna have to rewind the tape. Arturo, that's what's up. Pacquiao Mayweather, probably not, but pretty close. Pretty close. I say that because anytime Pacquiao fights, especially when he fought Mayweather, I mean, the whole damn Philippines bought it. You got a whole country buying that shit. And with Mayweather, you get Mayweather fans that buy it, but the thing about Mayweather is that you get an extra 30% buys just because people hate Mayweather and they want to see him lose. That's why Mayweather's still able to sell Conor McGregor and Logan Paul and whatever bullshit that he does in charity fights. Because people buy it literally because they want to see him lose. I don't think it'll be that big, but it'll definitely get pretty damn close. It's going to explode in America, but it has potential to do some worldwide sales as well. And you best believe I will be going to that fight. As a matter of fact, the one thing that I'm waiting for not only is the contract to be signed, but obviously I need to know where the venue is, because for me, I'm traveling, 15,000 fucking miles. If it's in New York, that's even further than where I normally go. Vegas is a little bit better for me. But I need to know because I'm trying to buy like good seats. Like I'm talking, I have no problem dropping $500 to $1,000 on a seat for a fight like this. And you got to buy it early because that shit will be sold out quick time. Quick time. All the celebrities, the ringside reporters, all these big names, all people got money. They're going to buy that shit up so quick, man. They're going to buy it up crazy quick. So I'm patiently waiting for the venue so I can get up in there and get my tickets early, because I'm telling you, it's going to be sold out within probably the first 3 to 4 weeks. Now, I said it earlier. It's hard for me to give a prediction right now just because I need to do some more film study. But I did give some freestyle off the top, ideas about the fight tonight. Maybe you joined a little bit later. I think it could go 12, but what I will say is somebody's getting hurt in this fight. Somebody's getting dropped. Somebody's getting hurt. I'm not going to put a finger on who is going to be yet until the fight's announced and I actually put time and energy to predict that. But I will say that I feel it in my bones that somebody's going to get hurt, and it could go 12. But I also have a feeling that this might be another Tommy Hearns Hagler, where it's extremely explosive for 5 to 7 rounds, and then somebody gets knocked out. I also see that. Well, that's what's up, Black Superman. Yeah. I it's a fight that I just can't miss. Like, I already beat myself up for not being able to make the Fury Wilder third fight. I was really close to going to that, but of course, with COVID and all that crazy shit, I wasn't able to go. So I'm not gonna beat myself up too much. In a 2-year span. Like, it's just, man. And I'm a huge heavyweight fan. Don't get me wrong. I love heavyweights, but like welterweights, that's my shit. That's my weight class. That's the weight class that I like the most, that I've always liked the most since Mayweather times. Before that, anything from 135 to 168 is that's my bread and butter. And I feel like I don't know, man. I just enjoy those fights much, much more. And maybe because it's similar to my own weight class, like if I were to fight right now, I'd probably fight around that age, or sorry, around that weight category. So maybe that's what it is. But it's just a fight that you can't miss, man. It's just a fight you just cannot miss. Like Spence and Ugas, that was a great one because it's kind of like the build up to this fight. And if you're able to go to both of them, like, that's some legendary shit, man. If you were able to go to Spence Ugas and then Spence Crawford, like, that's crazy. Like, that's some shit that you can save, make a video slideshow of, and like share it to your kids, man, and your grandkids, like that type of shit, man. But yeah, man, I can't miss it. And I'm gonna save up, and I'm gonna spend good money for good seats. I gotta be close to the ring, man. I want like the sweat. I want to see the sweat like be sprayed up in the air. That's how close I want to be. All right. And I want to be in the thick of everything. I want to be able to interview people for the channel and talk to people and just be there and part of that energy. I feel like if I miss that, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. Anthony Jones, yeah. Oh, and by the way, before I get up out of here, because I gotta get some breakfast in me, man. Get a little bit lightheaded, got a little low blood sugar right now. But one thing I want to say before I get up out of here is I know we have a lot of fights coming up. I will be doing a live for Fury Whyte just because I know a lot of us, even including myself, I'm not very intrigued, but I just feel like I should do it for the fans. There are people that do want me to do it, so I'll do it. And then we got Stevenson and Oscar Valdez. I'll try to get a prediction video out there for you guys soon to let you guys know what I think about that fight. I'll try to get into a boxing gym and record another video like I did for the Spence Ugas fight. Then we've got Canelo and Bivol. I still need to break down that fight. And another fight that's coming up that I'm actually quite interested in. I don't see a lot of people talking about it because I feel like they just think it's an automatic win for Benavidez, but it's Benavidez versus David Lemieux. I think people might be sleeping on David Lemieux. That's my opinion. This is I think it's a big step up for David Benavidez. And, we talk about David and the Charlos and all this different beef, and we want to see that fight. I mean, I even want to see Benavidez and Caleb Plant. And Caleb Plant supposedly is going to be fighting Darrell. That's his next fight. But there's a lot of people that we would love to see Benavidez fight, including Canelo, if Canelo decides to drop back down if he beats Bivol. But I think that Lemieux could very well be a problem for Benavidez. People think of David Lemieux of being kind of like a one-trick pony, this and that, and David is younger. But you got to understand that David has been in there with some of the biggest names in the middleweight division at 160 and 168. right? And David is a big boy, and David can crack. So we got two Davids, right? Yeah, two Davids going to. And so it's going to be interesting, man. And I'm actually looking forward to that fight. And that'll be some crazy shit if David Lemieux upsets Benavidez. But we'll see. We'll see, man. So there's a lot of fights coming up, man. I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys. And lastly, this is something new, right? You guys see the title of the live stream is called Speak on It. This is a new series that I started. This is volume 1. Speak on It will be every Wednesday night. So book it. Wednesday night, Speak on It. Divine Sense coming on here, and it's like it was tonight. It's a little bit aggressive. It's putting out energy. It's calling people out. It's talking that bullshit. It's letting people know about certain things that are happening in boxing that I may like or not like, and giving people the opportunity to come in here and challenge me. That's what this is all about. Speak on It will be on Wednesday nights, and of course, Firestorms. If there's not a big fight, it'll be Saturday. If there is a big fight, it will be Friday. And we open the panels up and we give our predictions. And that's what you guys have to look forward to. And then, of course, in between that will be videos of me breaking down fights and giving you guys some content in there. So that's what you guys have looking forward to look forward to with Divine Says Boxing, and everybody who came in here to click the like button, to be a part of the conversation, to vote in the poll, to show your support. I appreciate you guys immensely. Thanks so much. And please share the video. Like, if you like these type of topics and you like what I put out there, share the video. It means a lot. Let the people know. Get the conversation going. And I will catch you guys on the next one. And I see you guys in there talking about Lemieux's going to smash Lemieux. Or Benavidez is going to smash Lemieux. I see you. All right. I see you. Anthony Jones. Hey, bro, don't be jealous, bro. Don't be jealous. Just make it happen. Hit me up. Anybody wants to come out here for a holiday, hit me up. And I mean that. Make sure you follow me on the gram. All right, guys, I'm going to get up out of here, man. Y'all stay up, stay strong, stay positive. It's your boy Divine. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.